Okay, hello everybody. I am back. We are on lesson 42, solving percent problems. So, first thing we need to know, what is a percent? Most of you are probably going, I already know what that is. Well, we're going to do a review. A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. If you write a percent as a fraction, it's always something out of 100. So, for a quick example, if I said I have 50% of something, 50% is the same as saying 50 over 100. Okay? So, the way problems usually are put when we're doing percent problems is it says what is so much percent of a number. So if I said 25% of 20 is 5. Okay, so there are 3 parts to this. Here is our percent, 25%. 20 is a whole number. It's the whole group. It's the total. And then 5 is a percentage of 20. It's a percentage of the whole group. Okay, so let's look at some examples here to kind of really get this going. So, if we look at example 1 from your book, part A says, what number is 25% of 50? Well, in math, what does the word of mean? Multiply. So, what this is actually saying is we want 25% times 50. When we are multiplying percents, step 1, change percent to decimal. Whenever you are multiplying percents, change the percent to a decimal. That's the first step. We do that by moving the decimal over 2 spaces. So this is 0.25 times 50. Step 2 is just multiply. If we take 0.25 times 50, we are going to get 12.5. So, what number is 25% of 50? 12.5. Always change the decimal to a percent and then multiply. You have to do it in that order. Let's try another one. Part B. Part B says what number is 125% of 64? So, this is actually 125% times 64. Step 1, we need to change this percent to a decimal, so we're going to move 2 to the left. 1.25 times 64, and we get 80. And there's our answer. Okay, that is if you want to find a percent using a decimal. So, the other way you can do this is by setting up a proportion. If you are a person that thinks the decimal makes sense, you do not have to worry about setting up the proportion. There's just 2 different ways to solve the same problem. So, a couple things to keep in mind when we are thinking about the proportion. A percent statement can be set up as a proportion like we were talking about. 50% is actually 50 out of 100. That's the fraction. So, what you would do when you are setting up the proportion is, on one side you're going to have the part that you are looking for over the whole number of items or whatever you're using. And then you're going to set it equal to the percent as a fraction. Percent over 100. So then you cross multiply, find the number you're missing by dividing, just like you do with other proportions. But instead of using a bunch of fractions, now you're working with percents. So let's see how this works. If we look at example 2, in part A, it says, what number is 125% of 48? So in this case, 48 is our whole, 125% is our percent, and we are trying to find the part. So let's put everything where we know it. We know 48 is the whole, and that is equal to 125 over 100. We want to know what this part is up here. So we're going to do 48 times 125 divided by 100, because we have 48 times 125. 125 equals 100 times x. 48 times 125 divided by 100 will get us x equals 60. So that means 125% of 48 is actually 60. Let's try another example while we got this idea in our heads. Okay, part B says, 15 is what percent of 60? So, to do this, we need to know the percent. So, 60 is our whole, 15 is our part, so here's 15 over 60 equals, we'll use A for the percent, out of 100. So here again, we do 15 times 100, which is 1,500, and it's going to be equal to 60 times A. So if we do 1,500 divided by 60, that will get us A. So A equals 25. 1,500 divided by 60 is 25. So 15 is 25% of 60. Okay, those are the two different ways to do percent problems. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. Make sure we're getting all of our homework done, and I will see everybody in class.